If asking for reassurance makes you feel guilty, if needing comfort makes you feel childish, if wanting to be chosen, remembered, or emotionally considered makes you feel embarrassing, this video is probably about to feel a little too personal. Because some people do not just have needs, they feel ashamed for having them. And that shame can hide in really normal-looking moments. You start typing a message, then delete it. You want to ask if they are upset, but you stop yourself. You need help, but suddenly everyone else seems more important. You want affection, clarity, warmth, attention, or basic care, and your first feeling is not desire. It is guilt. A lot of people think this means they are needy, weak, dramatic, clingy, or emotionally immature. But usually that is not what is happening. Usually what is happening is that your nervous system learned that having needs came with a cost. Tension, rejection, mockery, withdrawal, annoyance, punishment, or the cold feeling that you were becoming too much. So now even healthy needs can feel contaminated. You do not just want comfort. You feel bad for wanting comfort. You do not just want reassurance. You feel stupid for needing reassurance. You do not just want to be cared for. You start negotiating with yourself first, trying to prove that maybe you can survive without it. That pattern usually does not start in adulthood. It starts much earlier, when your needs are treated like interruptions instead of information. Maybe no one said the words, "You are a burden," but the atmosphere said it for them. The sigh, the eye roll, the silence, the emotional unavailability, the feeling that care had to be earned before it could be given. And children are extremely good at adapting. If being needy makes the room colder, they learn to need less. If asking for comfort gets ignored, they become quiet. If sadness annoys people, they become low maintenance. If vulnerability gets used against them, they become self-protective. It looks mature from the outside, but inside it often feels like disappearing in real time. That is why some adults are deeply uncomfortable receiving love they did not overwork for. They do not trust care that arrives freely. They trust effort, over-explaining, usefulness, hyper-awareness, and self-editing. They trust being easy, being convenient, being the one who says, "It's okay, don't worry about me," even when it absolutely is not okay. And then people wonder why they keep ending up lonely in relationships. But loneliness is not always the absence of people. Sometimes it is what happens when you keep abandoning your own needs in order to stay acceptable. You are physically present, emotionally functional, maybe even funny and supportive, but your actual hunger never gets to speak. So you become excellent at minimizing. You say, "I'm good," before anyone asks. You say, "It's not a big deal," when it is. You say, "Whenever works for you," when you desperately want someone to choose a time. You make yourself smaller before anyone even asks you to. Not because you are easygoing, but because you are trying to stay lovable. This is also why safe love can feel weirdly uncomfortable. Not bad exactly, just unfamiliar, suspicious, even expensive. If someone consistently shows up for you, part of you may start wondering what they want back, when they will get tired, or how long until you ruin it by needing too much. Care feels less like relief and more like a debt you already owe. And if you grew up around criticism, emotional neglect, unpredictability, or conditional warmth, that makes sense. Because your body learned that being dependent on someone was risky. So now, even when your mind says, "This person is kind," your body still whispers, "Be careful. Do not relax. Do not ask for too much. Do not let them see how much this matters." That is why this pattern can be so confusing. Intellectually, you may know your needs are normal. Emotionally, they still feel humiliating. You may even encourage other people to speak up, ask for reassurance, and take up space, while secretly feeling disgusted with yourself when you want the exact same things. Compassion for others, shame for self. And shame is sneaky. It does not always show up as dramatic self-hatred. Sometimes it sounds incredibly reasonable. I just don't want to be annoying. I don't want to make it a big thing. They're probably tired. It's not fair to ask for more. I should be able to handle this alone. It sounds mature, but underneath it there is often fear. Fear that your need will trigger disappointment. Fear that asking will expose how much you care. Fear that wanting something makes you weak. Fear that if someone sees your hunger clearly, they will step back. So instead of risking rejection, you start pre-rejecting yourself. You silence the request before the world even gets the chance to answer it. That self-silencing can become a personality. People may describe you as independent, thoughtful, low drama, self-aware, mature, undemanding. And maybe you are some of those things. But sometimes what gets praised as independence is actually a very polished relationship with deprivation. You learned how to function while chronically undernourished emotionally. You may even feel proud of how little you ask for, until one day you realize your relationships are built around your ability to tolerate being under-considered. You are not getting your needs met because you barely let them exist in visible form. You give people the edited version of you, the acceptable version, the version that never needs too much at the wrong time. And then resentment starts leaking out in strange ways. You feel hurt by things you told yourself should not matter. You feel exhausted after being fine all day. You feel lonely around people who genuinely think everything is okay because you trained them to believe you do not need much. You are starving quietly, then blaming yourself for being sensitive. This is where people often get stuck. They think the solution is to become even less needy, even more detached, even more self-sufficient. But that only deepens the wound. Because the real problem was never that you had needs. The real problem was that somewhere along the way, your needs got paired with shame. And once shame fuses with need, everything gets distorted. Rest feels lazy. Asking feels manipulative. Wanting closeness feels embarrassing. Missing someone feels pathetic. Needing reassurance feels childish. Needing help feels like failure. Needing love feels like proof that you are less evolved than people who seem able to float through life untouched. But being untouched is not the goal. Numbness is not maturity. Self-erasure is not strength. And pretending not to need anything does not make you healed. It usually just makes you easier for unavailable people to love, because they get all the access without the responsibility of truly meeting you. The shift begins when you stop moralizing your needs. Not every need is an emergency. Not every feeling is a command. But your needs are not crimes. They are not character defects. They are not evidence that you are broken, excessive, or impossible to love. They are information about what it means to be a human with an attachment system. Sometimes the first step is painfully small. Admitting without apology, I do need reassurance right now. I do feel hurt. I do want more consistency. I do want to be considered. Not performing it, not defending it, not packaging it so perfectly that no one could possibly be bothered by it. Just naming it honestly. And yes, that can feel terrifying at first, because your body may still react like honesty is dangerous. You may feel exposed, childish, too much. But that discomfort is not always proof that you are doing something wrong. Sometimes it is proof that you are doing something unfamiliar. there is a difference. The people who are capable of loving you well are not looking for a version of you with no needs. They are looking for the real version of you. The one who can say, "This matters to me." The one who can let care in. The one who stops turning every hunger into a private shame spiral. The one who does not disappear just to stay chosen. So if this hit hard, maybe the truth is not that you are too much. Maybe the truth is that you learned to feel guilty for normal human needs, and you built a whole identity around making those needs invisible. But invisible needs do not stop hurting. They just start hurting in silence. You do not need to earn the right to be comforted. You do not need to become easier to love before your needs become valid. And you do not need to keep translating pain into politeness just to remain acceptable. Your needs are not the thing that make you hard to love. The shame around them is what keeps love from reaching you. If this explains something you have felt for a long time, stay with this channel, because we talk about the patterns people mistake for personality all the time. Subscribe if you want more videos like this. Share this with someone who has been apologizing for their needs their whole life. And if this topic hit home, the next video to watch is why safe love can feel wrong when your nervous system learned to survive without it.